Okay, so let's continue with our merge request. Okay, this is Nitesh. Let's merge this one. This is Ram. Let's check this one. Merge it. So this is Kate. Okay. Okay, and this one I will reject it. Okay, all merge requests done. Okay, now let's go and create a new branch. I'll do git branch. I am in the main branch. I'll do git pull. I'll get all the new files here. Then let me create new branch. Git checkout -b mk July 15th. Okay, so July 15th. Okay, so this file was created yesterday. And let's see, 1 second. Okay, actually this should be lesson 7. Okay, because we have 7 class done. Okay, let's rename this to rename this to 7. And today I will make it 8. Okay, so we did yesterday the scroll view with the refresh control. Now we'll continue and we'll use the Ajax call instead of a simple array. So if you see our project 8, it has an array in our state variable. Now I want to get this array from the server API and then use that. So we have to call server to get the data and update it locally. Okay. So now what I'll do, I'll rename this to project 9 and do the things there in the project 9. So everybody, you can also create a new branch from the main branch and create a new folder, project 9. So we have a separate file. And now I will update the app.js and home.js with the project 9. So let's copy this. Okay, let's put the project 9 as list from server. Okay, so we are getting list from the server in addition instead from the local hard-coded value. So just create a new branch and in the home create a new view with the project 9 list from server, and in the app.js I will import the project 9. Okay, let's do it project 9. Okay, so what we did it, I will write down, get the project 9, create a new folder project 9 and a new file project 9, add the reference of project 9 in home and app.js, and let's start with the project 9. So yesterday thing will be there, but only the change will be, we will not create the array of objects, it will come from the server, and rest everything will be same. So to get the data from the server, we have to install one module that is called Axios. So we have to use yarn add Axios in the project. Axios is the tool which will allow us to get the data from the server. Let me know when you're done with the project 9 creation and reference of it in the app.js. So I will add one more line. And in the home.js, I call the project 9 here. Okay, let me know when it's done. I can move forward. When you're done creating a new branch, then new folder, and then a reference in project 9 in home and app.js. Okay, sorry, I was muted. So I have to run this yarn add actions to install the actions in our repo. You can also run the yarn add actions in your repo. Okay, so this is a tool. We can also use the fetch, the normal JavaScript fetch, but actions is more advanced and more configurable. When you go with the industry, any company, they use actions rather than the pure fetch one. So try to use the actions. It has more configuration. You can do it. Though you can do all configuration in fetch, but it is little bit easier in the actions. Yeah. So if you leave it early, then I have committed all my files. You can check the files and you can follow the steps because it will be in project 9 only. You will just see what changes are done in this file. Okay, so let's start now with the actions part. So here I will create one function outside my project 9. This function will query the server and get the data. So let's say I name this function as get list. It is an arrow function. And since I have to get the data from the server, it takes some time to load from the server, so we need to use async function here. Otherwise, it will not work. You have to wait for the data to come back, so we need to use async. So here we have to use the URL which we want to call to get the data, fake data. Right now it's a fake data, but in real world it will be the real data. So this is the URL. We have to put the URL, which URL we have to call to get the data. And here I will call the response, which we'll get from the actions. So to get the response from the actions, we have to import the actions. So I'll say import actions from actions, and then I will write a response. Response will be await actions.get URL. So whatever URL we have, I will call using actions.get this URL, and I will use await. Why I have to use await? Because I have to wait till the data comes back. And when the data comes back, it will be saved in the response. If I don't use await, then only the promise will be returned and the real data will not be returned. So we need to use await. And once the response is back, I will return the response dot data. So in Actions, whenever we get something back, it the data which we get from the server is always in the data object. So if I do console.log response, you will see response has many things in it. One of the thing is data, which we are interested in. We are not interested in other things. We are only interested in the response.data. So we call the URL, we wait till the data comes back, and once the data comes back, we console it and return the response.data. So whenever you use actions, you cannot return directly response. The data is inside the response.data. It is how actions behave. Okay, so that's how we'll get it. Now what URL to call? So generally URL is something you will build the backend service to get the data, right? So you need to build the backend service. It will provide you data and you have to call that URL. So we will also learn how to create the backend service for it. But right now I will call one of the URL which I already created a backend service. So let me show you. I have created one backend service URL. This is API fake JSON simplest.php. You will see it is in the same format as we have in the project 8. So this is the project 8. We have key 1 item 1, and here in our API response we are in the same format, key 1 item 1 2 3 4 5 6. So we are getting the same data which we are using there. but now we are getting it from this URL. So I will be using this URL to fetch the data. Okay, let me write down that in the URL. So in the URL, I will put this URL. That is the URL I created it, and it will have same data which we see it here. I will also give you in the chat. You can use it and put it in the Telegram also. So now we have to call this function in our application and update the set items with this data which we will get it from here. Now initially I will remove this to see what is, are we getting 1 or not. Then we will integrate this part inside our app. Let me restart the package. I will scan the code now. Okay, so this is my, so the project 8 is what we see yesterday. Now project 9, I just removed all the items. I have only one. I will also delete the one of the item because I have to get it from the API. So let's delete this one item also. So right now I'm not getting anything because this empty array, and we are looping the empty array, so we're not getting anything. Now I have to call this function to get the data, and once we get the data, we'll call the set items to update it. Now where can I write this? Where can I call this? Can anyone tell me? In the use effect, right? Anand and Kate has given the correct response. We have to call this on the page load, and in the page, whenever we have to call anything on the page load, we have to use the use effect. So I will write down before return statement, I will write down react.useEffect, and use effect is nothing but an arrow function, and it has dependencies in the array format. So I have to call it here. Since this is the asynchronous call, I have to call using the await. Is it possible to call await here? Can anyone tell me, is it possible to call await here by making this async? Is it right or wrong? Yeah, another thing, we have to create another function. So generally use effect doesn't work with the async directly. So we cannot call this async directly. We have to create another function here called as process, which can be async. And I will call this process function here. So we cannot call async directly with the use effect. We have to create another function, and we have to call that one. Here we have to use the try catch block. Remember, whenever you are using the async, we need to use try catch block. Either I can use try catch block here or inside here. If I create try catch block here, then I have to tackle the error here only, and which is difficult because this is a generic function, and every project will have error in some different way. So we should not put try catch here, rather than we'll put it here where we are using it. So I'll use the catch here. I will put, right now I'll not show error, I'll just console it. Error is, and in the try block I will create a function, a variable list equal to get list. And since this is the async function, we have to use await. So when I say await, we call the getList function, and whatever we are returning it, we will return it in the variable list. let's do what list is there. Okay, so whatever list we get, I will display it here. Now let's try to run it and see how it goes. So when I run this file, it will go to use effect. In the use effect, it will call the process function. Process function will call the get list. Get list will go to the server, this server, and get the response and returns the response.data back, and which will be saved in this list part. Once we get list, we will update the set items with this list. Let's see first in the console what's happening. So as soon as I click the project 9, you will see first we are getting this response, which is nothing but here in the get list, the response. So response, you will see there is a lot of things we are getting like config, headers, we get method, we get a lot of things, and ultimately we also get the data. We should also get the data. Let's see where we are getting the data. Okay, when you go in a browser, you can see easily here also it is we are getting data. Data is nothing but we get it from the server. And in the list you will see we are getting the data. Now this data, the list should be updated with the set items. So how can I update the set items? Here what should I write? I'll delete the console. Now here I have to update the set items. How will I update it? Set item, set state. Here it is set items, and I will put the list. So once I say put the list, you will see my set items is updated with whatever we are getting from the server, and I'm displaying it here. And when I'm refreshing it, I will not call server now because we don't have real API. So nothing will happen if I call the server now on refresh. So on refresh, I'm calling my local function only, which will update the items to add more items. Okay, so in real world, you will also call this list again here in here like this. But since if I call this same function again, then from the server, I will not get the updated list. Okay, so right now I'm putting this set timeout, but in the real world, when you work with the real API, you have to call this part again inside this. Okay, are you getting me this point? Why I'm not putting now here? The reason is right now I will get the same item, so you will not see the change when you refresh. So I'm keeping this part same, but when you work with the real API, you have to call the API again. Okay, so now just finish this. I give this function in the Telegram. Now add this use effect in your project, and then it will be done. This project will be done. I'll give you 2 minutes to update this and run it and check if it is working. Is it done? Okay. Anand is saying yes, Kate is saying yes. Okay. So now we are done with the project 9. That is the scroll view with the map. Okay, the map. So this is the simple way to look through the array and show the record to the user. Now I will create 3 more projects now, and then we'll work on that also. So let's create new 3 projects. You can also create 3 more projects. So I'll say project 0010, then create a 3 folders, project 0011, new folder project 0012. Okay, create four projects. Okay, just new folder project 0013. So we created 4 more folders, and I'll create 4 more files inside each one. Project 10.js, rnfes, then it will be new file, project 11.js, rnfes, get new file, project 12.js, rnfes, next project 13, create a new file, project 13.js. Okay, so we created 4 projects. Now I will add all the reference of this 4 project inside app.js and home.js. So import project 10, from source project 10 slash project 10, and 11, 12, 13, 11, 12, 13, 11, 12, 13. While the getList function is incomplete? I have put this getList function already in the Telegram also. Okay, you can get it from there, or I'll put it here also if you want. Okay, so this getList function is in Telegram also and here also. Okay. Okay, so this is my server, and I created my simple fake JSON. Okay, so let's try to go to project 8. Okay, now once I create 4 folders, 4 files, I will update it in this app.js. So it is 1 is 10, 11, 12, 13, 10, 11, 12, 13. And in the home.js also, I will update this one. So this will be the 10, 11, 12, 13. So in the 10, we will use the flat list. In the 11, we will use flat list with server data. from server. And in the 12, we will use section list, and in the 13th, we'll use the section list from server. So this will call the project 13, this will call the project 12, this will call the project 11, this will call the project 10. And you know, once I get more buttons, I won't be able to scroll up. So we need to add the scroll view also here in the home.js. Okay, so we need to add scroll view. So that when it goes beyond the screen, I should be able to scroll up. Right now, it's not going beyond the screen, so I'm fine. But some point it will go below it. So we have the project 10, 11, 12, 13. We'll be going through all this 4. So let's go to project 10. Right now it's just dummy. So now what I'll do, I'll copy project 8 into the project 10 and just change this to 10. Okay, and I'll also copy this project 10 to project 12. So just copy the project 8 to project 10 and 12. And I'll copy from project 9 to project 11. And also I'll copy the same thing to project 13. Okay. 13. Okay, so let me write down what we have to do. And now create 4 folders and 4 files. Project 10, project 11, project 12, project 13. Okay. Copy code from project 8. Do it along with me as I am typing. You also try to do. Copy code from project 9. Okay, so 11 and 13 project 9, 10 and 12 code should be copied from project 8, and then we'll write on top of it. Okay, let's restart. So project 10 is copied from project 8, 11 is getting from the server, and 13 is getting from the server. Let me know when you're done with creating all these projects.
So in bottom it's showing error. Project 9 doesn't exist.
What is the error? Can you paste it in the chat?
No, sir, in your system actually.
Okay, so once you have to see the last line, this is
Okay,
saying bin
completed.
incomplete, and before that, don't worry for that. Because I was in
Got it.
typing in half, so you see the error. But
Okay.
once we see this, no error after that. Okay, so is everything done creating the folders? Okay, so now what I will do, I will show you the project 10 for the flat list, and I will show you project 12 for the section list. Then in the home you have the homework to complete the project 11. Project 11 will be the section list using the get list, and project 13 will be the project 13 will be section list with the get list, and the project 11 will be flat list with the get list. So from the server part you have to do, I will show you the local thing here and in the 12 project. Is that clear? So I will show you how to do flat list locally. My changes will be committed after this class. Okay. After I'm done, I will commit all my changes. It will be in the main branch. Okay, so now let's do the project 10 with the flat list. Okay, so, and next Friday there is no class. We have direct class on the next Saturday. So for Indian people, direct class is on Sunday. For US people, it's on Saturday next Friday class is not there. Okay, so let's try to do the flat list. So since we were doing the scroll view with this looping of the things, okay, so I will now use the flat list. Flat list is something, flat list is the display will be similar, only thing we have to use the flat list in our code. So since we have to use the flat list, I have to import the flat list here. Okay, so first step is we have to import a flat list. And now what I will do, we don't have to use scroll view when I'm using flat list. So right now I'll not delete this part, but let's create a flat list separately here. So as soon as I create a flat list, below is a scroll view and we have to flat list. So we have to pass some configuration here so that it should work properly. Okay, so we have to pass something. So one of the things in the flat list, we have to pass the refresh control. So refresh control is the same as we have here in the scroll view. So I'll pass the refresh control same from the scroll view. Okay, here also I have to tell the data. So what will be the data? So we have to give the variable for the data. So what is the variable for the data? Which variable is holding the data? Items. So we have to put the data with the array of whatever array we have to pass, we have to show it here. Okay, so we are putting data here. Okay, next thing which we have to put here is the render item. Render item. So the render item is nothing but an arrow function. Here we have to pass the arrow function. And then in the render item, I have to return nothing but same thing what I have here. I will return it. So here we were getting the item record like this, but this is because my self-made function, therefore I was getting the record. But here this is not my self-made function. This will the function which will be returned. So we will not get the record. We will get the item. So we will get the item here. Okay, so let's put the item. So instead of record, we have to use this item. Okay, so now we don't have to pass the key like this. It will take automatically, the key is like this one. Okay, but now what is the problem? Let me show you. Okay, so this is a flat list. So the thing is that we need to in the flat list, remember that we need to make this key as an string. It will not take the numeric one. We have to pass it as a string. Okay, let's make the thing string. Okay, so I made the string here. Let's run it again. Okay, so things, let's delete this part, scroll view, so we know what's happening. One second. Okay, so let's try to, key is automatically taking here in this one. Let me try to change it to ID and see what's happening. Okay, now let's see what's happening. Let me change this to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Okay. Okay. So things are going good here. We don't see any error kind of thing. So maybe initially when the flat list come, if we don't pass the key, it was giving some warning sign. Maybe that is improved. I have to check the documentation. But the thing is that we have to understand few things. So one is we have to put the refresh control, we have to put the data, and we have to put the render item. So we have to put one more thing, which is called as a key extractor. Key extractor. So key extractor is nothing but an arrow function. And let's put item. Let's see what is coming in this item. Okay, so item we are getting as ID and item. So we have to return item.id. So we have to define what is the key for each item, and that key is nothing but this ID. Okay, so we have to return the key extractor. Right now I'm not seeing any warning or error here, but initially a few months back when I was not using key extractor, I was getting some error in the console, so I put the key extractor here. Okay, so just for safe side, right now put key extractor, and it should be the unique key what we get here. Let's ID this one. Okay, so we need to put the key extractor. Right now, even if I'm removing it, it's working fine. So maybe I need to see the documentation where they have fixed automatically. They are taking the key, generating the key. So that part I will check, double check, and let you know next time. But for now, just put the key extractor also. So there are a few more things. So this is the basic flat list. We put the refresh control. It works in the same way. We have to render item, and whatever we were having that, we will put it here, and we have to show where the data is coming from. And remember, the render item has this as a curly bracket. Okay, not the simple item like this. We have to get this like this one. Let's see what item is getting. So we are getting item, and let me put one rest. Let's see what rest is coming. One second. Okay, so if I paste this rest, you will see I'm getting index also, I'm getting separate other things. If we want to use the index also, we can get an index also here, like this. So if I put flat list, I'm getting index also, 11, 10, something like that. Okay, so we are getting index also and item, and let's remove the index. So what change we did in compared to project 8? In the project 8, we were having the scroll view and we were having the refresh control and we were looping it manually. Now in the 10, I removed the scroll view, I use the flat list, and flat list is generally used nowadays, or it is advisable to use a flat list because when you have the large data, flat list has optimized version. It optimizes the result and display to the user. If you use the scroll view, it will be less optimized and user will see some performance issue. So we have to use the refresh control. Key extractor is even if I remove it, it's working fine. But since when I was reading the document some couple of months back, key extractor was needed. And then data, we pass items, and the render item is something same thing. What we have to render it to the user, and we are getting the variable item, which is nothing but each row. Okay, this is about the flat list. Any questions on the flat list? I gave you the flat list in the Telegram, the whole file, if you want to use it. Any questions or concerns in the flat list? So it is basically the same thing. Only thing, the way of writing is different. So what we have to do? Flat list with refresh control, with the key extractor, with the data and the render item. Any questions on the flat list? Okay, so here I will show you few more changes which we can do. If I pass num columns, there is something called num columns. If I pass num columns, then you will see this is divided into 2 columns and display like that. Let's say if I pass 3, then we will see 3 items, though I cannot see on the right side of this one. So let's remove this. This is just a display, just to show that we can use num columns also. Okay, and also I can use few more parameters like horizontal. If I push horizontal, you will see all the items are from left to right. We can adjust the height, anything using our CSS flexbox, but right now you see the horizontal. And if I do inverted, then the item will start from the right to left. Initially it was going from left to right, now it's going from right to left. So these are the extra things which we can use but not needed in the normal list. Okay, any questions? Okay, so now you will do this same flat list, but data should come from the server in the project level. And the URL, this part, I will give you another URL for this one in couple of minutes. Okay, so right now, remember you have to copy this flat list and you have to get the data from the server, not from here. And I will see your PR, how it looks when you move it. Okay, so this data URL will change. I will give you different URL for that one, for this flat list. Let's go to project 12 where I will do the section list. Let's quickly complete the section list. So section list is little bigger. I don't want to take it now. So just we'll do it in the next Saturday. Okay, right now let me give you the URL which you will use here for the flat list in the project 11. Give me 1 second. Let me give you the URL. 1 second. I'm building it. Let's see where I have. Okay. Let me give you this. Let me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 1 second. Let me build it. Okay. Now here I'll change it to flat list. Okay, so if you see flat list, we have this ID item. So just use this one. Let me give you, yeah, key is a string. Yeah, key is a string. I'm putting key as a string. So this is the URL which you can use for your project 11. So just do project 11 only. Get the flat list with the dynamic data from the server, and the URL will be different. It is a flatlist.php. Okay. Any questions in doing this project 11? Is it clear? Project 12 will do next Saturday because it's little big, little complicated. I need to create a different structure. It will take some time. Any questions on this one? If you have any question, you can ask. Maybe I'll say that list. Okay, I'll commit and push to the main one. You can. I'll create a merge request. Okay, and I will merge it. So you will get the changes in the main branch. All the changes are in the main branch. Okay, so that's all for today. Any questions?